Ladies and gentlemen, this is Intervlog. I say this is Intervlog, and I am here once more. I am here because there is one important information that I brought to you today. And this information is unbelievable. This is the first time we are hearing about this information. It never happened before. And you would ask me, what is that information all about? Well, it is about Burkina Faso and Tunisia. And what Tunisia did is unbelievable. Tunisia came to endorse Sahel Alliance, but their endorsement is not as important as what they said. What they said that made them to endorse Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger will shock you if you are an African. When you hear the news and you love Africa, you will be boring yourself with shame. Because this issue that everybody's supposed to talk about, we left it, and we were talking about something not very serious. And you will ask me, what is that they say, and what is that issue that everybody left, which Tunisia talked about? Well, Tunisia came this month, endorsed Sahel Alliance, and what they said really shocked me as Intervlog, and you are going to be shocked. At the same time, they said that they endorse Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and will always be with them. And there is one issue in Africa that we Africans, including Tunisia, supposed to discuss about, but we left it. And we'll be talking about another thing that does not concern us. And that issue is issue about migration that some leaders supposed to discuss on why should an Africa pay money to enter into another African country as a visa. That some mafias, who are portraying themselves as leaders in Africa, are making money by collecting money as a visa from Africa. That this is something that Africa Union Ecowas supposed to be discussing of. After listening to what Tunisia said, I was marveled because this is the first time any African country has discussed about migration. This is the first time African country has discussed about mafias collecting money as visas. Cooperation. Tunisia's Minister of Foreign Affairs meets the President of FASO, Ouagadougou, July 2024. The president of FASO, Captain Ibrahim Traore, granted an audience this Monday morning to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Tunisians Abroad, Nabil Amar. The Tunisian minister is in Ouagadougou for the 8th session of the Burkina Faso-Tunisia Joint Commission. With the head of state, I was able to discuss the commitment of both parties to boost cooperation and bilateral ties between Tunisia and Burkina Faso, said Nabil Amar, who praised the excellence of cooperation between the two countries. According to him, these relations, which have always been excellent and fraternal between peoples and countries, can only develop further. As part of the 8th session of the Joint Commission, he mentioned the presence of a large ministerial delegation and the president of the Tunisian Employers Association, accompanied by a delegation of businessmen, to give substance to this session and raise our bilateral relations to a higher level. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Tunisians Abroad, Nabil Amar, also discussed international policy with President Ibrahim Traore. On the bilateral level, the discussions focused on medical repatriation and the development of health cooperation without forgetting the migration issue. All legal migrations from Burkina and other African countries are absolutely welcome. They should even be encouraged and developed in our two countries. This is in line with the development of the economy of both countries and our relations. Nabil also called on all countries to coordinate their efforts to fight together against mafia gangs which profit from legal migration. We cannot accept that our children, whether they are Burkinabe, Tunisian, or of other African nationalities, are the victims of these mafia networks. We must not give in to the media campaign that is being conducted solely to put certain countries in difficulty for political interests, concluded Minister Nabil Amar. This is the first time African countries is preaching for unity among Africa. And this talk of visa is one of the most important issues that Africa Union and Ecowas is supposed to be discussing. As a black man or as an African, you cannot move from Nigeria to Kenya. You cannot move from Kenya to Angola. You cannot move from Angola to South Africa. And we have unions like Ecowas. We have unions like Africa Union. What are they discussing every day? We can't even allow our brother to come into our house. Go to Europe, visa free. A German will travel from Germany to France to Spain to Italy. Anywhere he wants to go in Europe, he go freely. The same German will still come to Africa. He will move freely in Africa. Move from Cameroon to Angola to Togo to Morocco to Sudan, everywhere. But you, an African, you cannot move from Morocco to Sudan. You cannot move from Eritrea to even Kenya. That is how serious it is. And we don't see that as a problem. What we see as a problem is, why is France not staying in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger? You have a bigger problem to discuss about. Why should we be happy on making money from our African brothers if we all are Africans? When are we going to stop charging for visa in Africa? When are we going to make Africa a borderless continent? These are the issues that Africa Union and Ecowas supposed to be discussing, not about how France and Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger should solve their problems. If Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger don't want France to be there, let France beg them. This is called international cooperation. There is a reason they don't want them, and you are trying to go to war to fight war for France, to stay in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. Why you can't even give your brother visa free. Your brother cannot even come into your own house. Some presidents don't want to talk about this because of amount they are collecting from visa from their African brothers. Nobody is discussing that these countries, as they sit there, that some of those presidents before, they will go from one country to another in Africa, they had to pay visa. They don't see this as an issue. And every month they are having meetings. Majority of their discussion is to impose constitutional order on Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Nobody is talking about why is it that Africa is not visa-free for all Africa. Why is Africa visa-free for Europe, but Africa is not visa-free to Europe? Why is it that Africa is visa-free for France, but Africa is not visa-free to France? These are the issue African Union and ECO was supposed to be discussing about. And after listening to what Tunisia pointed out, and do you think it is good for Africa to be visa-free in Africa, as Europe is visa-free for all Europeans? If you wish to have Africa as a visa-free for all Africans, where you can travel to any African countries without asking for visa, put it down on comment section. I support what Tunisia talking about. That is going to make Africa to be very busy. Movement will be everywhere. Business corporation. Europe is even incorporating more poor countries into Europe because the bigger the number, the stronger the continent. Thank you very much for watching. This is Intervlog.